Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for coming tonight. This is a very special evening for us and afternoon, and we know that your students and your children worked very, very hard on these projects. And as some of you may know, some of the former students here in the room know that a few years ago, this was something that was mandatory for all our 7th graders to do. And so we would have it in the gym, and we would have many different size poster boards and many different sizes and shapes and styles of experiments that students had done. And I joked a few years ago when we were doing it that I know there's a lot of parents in the audience that might get upset when they don't win. And I joked about it because I was saying that you could see sometimes the projects that the parents really had a hand in. And then that's not a bad thing, but yet it wasn't exactly what we were shooting for when we were doing these events and doing these projects. And for us in the last few years, we did a book study as a faculty and talked about celebrations of learning. And this afternoon into this evening was a tremendous celebration of learning. And one of the big educational buzzwords out there right now is project-based learning. And in project-based learning, kids follow their passions and they decide what they would like to study and do it. And we hope that that might carry over into something that they'll do at home. And not so much us giving them homework, but more so for them that they want to do it. They want to study it. They want to learn more. And that's exactly what we saw in the projects in the library tonight, were projects that kids here in this room right now decided that they wanted to look into, they wanted to study more, and they wanted to figure out how things work and how things are. And that's just tremendous. And I'd just like to give them all a round of applause right now for all the work they did. In those nights that we did the whole 7th grade had to do it, we had a lot of quantity to science projects, but we never ever had the quality that we've had in the last few years. We've had some kids study some amazing topics, and just today, and I'm sure for yourself as well, when I walked around and listened to them teach me about plants, teach me about robotics, teach me about astronomy, I'm just amazed at how much they've learned and how they can articulate it and tell me about it. And that's exactly what we're trying to do here at the Nichols Middle School, is have our students see something that they want to learn about and follow it after school, follow it on their phone, follow it through the internet, Google it, whatever way they can, and study it for themselves and see what they can do. All these students here tonight, not everyone I don't think is going to get an award, but you all definitely have an award in my book because you took the time on your own to study whatever you decided to study and put together a project that was absolutely amazing. I was able to get around and take a picture of every single one of you, and the smiles on your faces are just awesome. And I really do appreciate everything that you've done. I appreciate your parents being here and supporting you, because that's such a huge component in helping us to help you see the value of your education. So I really do appreciate everything that's going on. And again, you might not get a big trophy, you might not get a medium-sized trophy, you might not get a ribbon, but the simple fact is that you really did the stuff that we want you to do. And you have followed your dreams and saw them into fruition and put it together for us, and were able to kind of talk to us about it. And that is just great. And we do really appreciate it. So I'm going to turn the evening over to Mr. Redpath, our science department leader, and he's going to explain some things and explain the judging, and then talk about who will be walking out with smiles on their faces even brighter than they have right now. Here we go, Mr. Redpath.
Thank you, Mr. Gagan. Right, he said everything I was going to say, so. Oh, yeah, you read my notes. Thanks. So I would like to welcome parents and students and friends to the 61st annual Nichols Middle School, now STEM Fair, formerly Science Fair. And I'd like to start by thanking several people that made this possible. Our superintendent, Mr. Brian Lynch, our school principal, Mr. Marty Gagan, our director of secondary education for STEM, Dr. Melanie Gates, the Nichols Middle School librarian, Debbie Walgreen, who had a lot on her plate today because, as you saw, the book fair is also in there, and we were working around that this morning. The Nichols Middle School science, technology, and math teachers, namely Mrs. Cindy Kuhn, Mr. Stephen Eddy, Mrs. Jenny Gomes, Mrs. Karen Curtin, Mr. Aaron Petruski, Mrs. Carmela Majewski, Mrs. Amy Anderson, and I hope I didn't miss anybody. I would also like to thank our guest judges. We were very fortunate to have 2 guest judges this year, Mr. Joe Barry and Miss Sonia DeMoulin of AccuRounds Custom Machining. So we're trying to bring in more of our community that uses STEM in their businesses. And I'd like to thank Mr. Nat Williams from our longtime sponsor, the Williams Trading Post, who came and judged some of our plant experiments. And finally, I would like to thank the parents and the guardians. Your support of your students makes this possible. And I know Mr. Gagan has joked about parents doing the experiments. I can tell you, looking at the ones this year, that was not the case. We saw the hands of our students. We saw the thinking of our students. We saw the passion of our students in these projects this year, and it was fantastic. It was wonderful to see. This year we had over 20 projects involving more than 30 competitors vying for awards in 3 categories. Topics ranged from robotics, there were several on that, to plant science, and epigenetics, and how many of you have ever heard of that topic before, to quantum entanglement. And I can tell you that is on the cutting edge of physics. That's the kind of stuff that Sheldon studies. Okay? That was amazing just to see that topic at a middle school science fair. That's phenomenal. It is a true privilege to be able to see the remarkable effort, the depth of learning, and the passion in the pursuit of knowledge that all of these students have demonstrated here tonight. This is one of my favorite days, is to be able to be a part of this. It's a privilege. So I want to congratulate each and every one of the participants in this year's fair for a job well done. We are all very proud of the projects you have presented here today. So could we give everyone an applause? And I know you're all looking forward to going out into this wonderfully beautiful spring day. So we will try and get this wrapped up for you. So first up was our largest category this year, and that was the Research Illustrative Project. In this project, students pick a topic in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, that they find interesting, that they want to learn more about. And they do just that. They research it, and they write up their presentation on it. And then they teach us, as Mr. Gagan said, we get to learn a lot about these topics. Because being science teachers, we don't always keep up to date on everything that's happening in every single topic everywhere. We try. But it's wonderful to learn from our students. So we have a couple of awards here. This was our largest category and warranted the most awards. So let me make sure I have the right names here. First up is an honorable mention to Noah DeGrazia for his project on quantum entanglement. Could we get each recipient come on down? Yep. And before I present these next ones, Mr. Gagan said I would speak about judging, and I will. It's fun to judge, but it's also difficult. We get to look at some great projects, and unfortunately, we have to nitpick a lot of the time. We are looking for the smallest error sometimes makes the difference between an award and not an award, or a first or second, third place. So if you don't receive an award tonight, or you don't receive the award you were hoping for, please do not be discouraged. You did not fail. You did not have a poor project. We had a tough time selecting the best from all of these, and we hope that you will come back and compete again next year, those of you who will be here. So, next up, we have 2 medals of distinction. One for Mark Swindle for his project on mass extinctions, and the other for Dylan Lynch for the development of robotics. We had a lot of really good robotics projects this year. I'm kind of wondering what the students are planning out there. Okay, we had a tie for third place, and so you can see how difficult the judging was. Our first third place finisher was Margaret Philly for her project on epigenetics. Yes. And our other third place finisher was Gavin Estabrook for evolution of robotics. Gavin, we will get your trophy. We didn't realize how many we'd have in groups, so there will be a trophy. We'll have it for you very soon. Okay, our second place finisher was Shauna Gallagher for Dry Ice is Cool. I hope you got to see that one tonight. What a great interactive project that was. And our first place in the Research Illustrative project was Cam Morgan for Robotics to the Rescue. Well done, everyone. Our next category was the traditional science fair category that we originally had back when we had 200 or 300 projects in the gymnasium, and that is the controlled experiment where students need to follow the scientific method to answer a question in the field of science, technology, engineering, and math. Our third place trophy goes to a group, and I hope I get everyone's name right. Carly Quill, Riley Believe, Hannah St. John, Allie Kirkpatrick, and Megan Kavaleski for their project, Is Sensitivity Heightened on Your Dominant Hand? Yeah, we're just going to let them fight over the trophy. Our second place finisher was Casey Fitch for Which Chicks Grew. And our first place finisher was Jack Legender for Out of Pressure. And I want to commend Jack because I know he wasn't feeling well today, but he made it in because he wanted to make sure that he got the use out of the materials that he gathered for his experiment. So congratulations, Jack. And I love to see that response, that kind of passion. That's what we're talking about. Our last category is also a controlled experiment category, but this one's specific to plant science because it's been sponsored for a very long time by the Williams Trading Post, and we are very grateful for their sponsorship. And as a matter of fact, this year, they added a $100 prize to the winner. The winners in the other categories will also receive $100 prizes. They are sponsored by the PTA, the Builders Club, and the Student Council as well. So our third place finisher is Olivia Pasquarello for Does Music Affect Plant Growth? Our second place finishers are a pair, Mike Iriarty and Shay Hilton for How Does Music Affect Plant Growth? Did I miss someone's name in that group? Oh, no, okay. I feel terrible. It's just the paparazzi, okay. Thank you for that line, Jenny. I want to mention, I think you'll notice we had two projects essentially the same, and this is where the judging gets really difficult, and it comes down to literally splitting hairs. So you guys, both groups did a great job. Well done. And our first place winner, and the winner of the Harold H. Williams Memorial Award for Excellence in Plant Science, goes to a former winner of the science fair, Shaylin Gallagher for Plants and CO2. A fantastic night. Congratulations to all the award recipients, all of our participants. Again, I want to stress, I hope you 6th and 7th graders will come back and try again next year. Get your friends to try it out. Let them explore, let them research, let them learn about some topic that they've never learned about before. Seeing this kind of passion for education is amazing. It's what we're in this business for. So thank you all for coming out on such a wonderful evening, and safe trip home.